Hi.
Hi.
How are you, everyone? Welcome to Lunch Break with ATI. I'm Cindy Collins, one of the co-founders of Actors Theater of Indiana, the professional resident theater company at the Center for the Performing Arts right here in Carmel, Indiana, USA. And today we have the lovely Sara Draper. Thank you for being here, Sara. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Sara's running for City Council. And what we've been doing is, for the past, it's been quite a few weeks, having most of the people who are running for City Council. We've had people on who are running again, and we have newbies. You're a newbie.
Yeah, I'm a baby politician.
Yes, tiny. And
pretty small in real life
learning to walk.
Yes.
But yeah, so giving everyone a fair shake, so to speak, which is the right thing to do. And so I've been talking to quite a few candidates for the past few weeks. I find it fascinating, very interesting, on both sides, Republican and Democrat. And the thing that, and I just, tell me the district again, your district you're running for.
I'm running at large.
At large, so it's you, Jake, Jeff, Matt,
Rich Taylor.
Rich, okay. At large. So, but I'll just tell you what I've been finding, and I'm talking to people every week, and everybody seems to, even though, like I've said this before, you're going about it in your own different ways, everyone has the best interest, of course, of Carmel, in mind. Everyone who's running. Why else run, right?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to make Carmel even better than it is already. We may have different ideas about how we get there and what it takes and what kind of cast of characters, we're in a theatre, cast of characters it takes, but I firmly believe everybody is in it to make Carmel better.
Yes, and why not? Because you live here. You're a resident of Carmel. And I do ask everyone this question who is running, who is the first time running. Why? It's not easy. Why? That's the big question. What made you do this? Bing! I'm going to run for city council.
Yeah, I've asked myself a few times.
I'm sure.
There's a couple of main reasons. The first reason is that I think we need a real functioning democracy in Carmel. People haven't had for a long time a choice on their ballot. And we currently have 8 Republicans and 1 Democrat. And I don't believe supermajorities work for anyone. I don't believe that is democracy. It doesn't promote compromise, discussion, debate, creative tension. So I wanted to, it sounds hyperbolic and a little bit cheesy, but I wanted to help bring a choice to Carmel and bring some democracy to Carmel.
Right.
In the midterm elections in November, 49.5% of the votes cast in Carmel went to Democrats. So that implies that the vote for city council might not be 8 Republican, 1 Democrat.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to bring that choice.
Yeah.
The other reason I'm running is, you can tell from my accent, I'm not from here. I'm from somewhere a little bit east of here.
What? Farther east than I am.
Exactly.
Across
even further
the
east
pond.
than you, all the way across the pond. And I came to Hamilton County 24 years ago and Carmel 16 years ago, and have been fortunate to build an amazing life. We adopted our daughter here. We fostered kids here. I'm a guardian ad litem.
7, right? Because I read that.
Yeah.
7 foster.
7 foster children aged between 5 and 14. And I'm still in contact with a couple of them. I went to one's GED diploma ceremony recently, which was a really special,
of course it is.
Special time. And this is a new way for me to give back. Use my advocacy skills, use my passion for helping everyone. My campaign's Draper for all Carmel, because I believe everybody in Carmel deserves to thrive, and we need to take everybody's needs into account. So that's a long-winded way of explaining it. Those are the 2 main reasons.
No, that's why you're here. You're here to explain. That's why you're here. You're here to tell your platform. And I happen to agree with you very much. I do think there should be balance everywhere. And I do think that makes for a healthier environment. We are a democracy. We're not a dictatorship. And I think that I do actually, I want to say, I do think, and I would hope that everyone does feel that way. Because you just don't want it to be easy sometimes. You need to be challenged. People need to be challenged. You need to have healthy debates. That I mean, that is politics. I mean, healthy debates. They're,
Yes.
that doesn't always, unfortunately, that is not always what happens. But let me ask you, what made you even come to the United States?
That's another question I've asked myself several times. My husband was offered a job at Eli Lilly.
Okay.
And it was January 2000, so it was kind of like a new life for a new millennium.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, why not? If somebody knocks on your door and offers you the chance to come live in America, why not try it? And we thought, well, when you leave the country, they don't take your British passport away. If we don't like it, we'll just go home. And it's going to be 24 years in January since we've been here.
So you like it okay?
We love it. We always say that England is a fabulous place to visit and a miserable place to live.
Oh, my God.
And Carmel is certainly a much, much better place to live. We have a much better life, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. And I would take... I will tell you personally, I respect that, right? Here you come, you came from another country. Now, not a foreign. You speak the language. Obviously, you
mostly speak the language.
You invented the language, English language. So
mostly. It's very different. I'm still finding in the last week, I find words have different meanings, the grammar is different.
Of course, but
I'm still coming up against it.
Yeah, well, it's funny because being an actor and having to do different dialects and having to learn about different dialects, I wouldn't even think twice if you said something. I'd be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? But I can see the regular person might be like, I don't know what that word means. Everybody has different little abbreviations for stuff too. Different words for everything that we in America, right, do not call the same thing.
Right.
I could say I could say a few, but but anyway, getting back to, I think that's very commendable. You came here to the United States. You didn't come from a country that's, like I said, you speak the language. You came in, but still a brand new life in a different country. Even if we were if I were to go to Great Britain and live, it's completely different. I mean, Michael, where were you in Great Britain? Where were you born?
I was born in Manchester.
Okay.
My husband and I are from two of the most deprived towns in the UK, so to come to Carmel is crazy.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing about moving here, before we left England, I worked for Ford Motor Company. I was running one of their customer satisfaction surveys across the major European markets. I was traveling in Europe, got to use my 5 languages. But because of the kind of visa my husband got to come to work at Lilly, that meant I was not allowed to work. So I couldn't go back to school because I didn't have a student visa. So I lost my job overnight and became a stay-at-home not mom.
Right.
So that was the hardest thing, to be parachuted into Indianapolis in January with 7 inches of snow, which I'd never seen 7 inches of snow before. My husband went off to work that first day, and I was in the Homewood Suites by the Fashion Mall at Keystone thinking, okay, so what do I do now?
Oh, my God.
And I look back and think, how did I do it? Well, I did it the same way I'm running this campaign. I did it one day at a time, doing the best I could with an open mind, an open heart, looking for opportunities where I can help people and what I can do to make things better. So I'm not going to lie, it was hard, but I did it, and here I am, and I'm all the better for
sometimes the best things are the hardest things, and they come out to be the best things in your life,
Risk is reward.
Right. I mean, if you don't take a leap, sometimes nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
You're not gonna move forward. Right. Being stagnant, What now? Listen, you've not everyone has knocked on a lot of doors. Everyone's all over the place knocking on doors, and I know to me that's got to be the toughest. I think that's pretty hard. That's the toughest thing to me, because you're right there with the person if they answer the door. Right? If you don't just have to leave your little flyer or something. If they answer the door, that's it. You're on.
Yeah.
You're on. You know what I mean?
I love it. It energizes me. If I'm having a tougher day, I put my shoes on and I go out and I knock on doors, because let me tell you, people are pleased to see us on the whole and by and large, and particularly people are pleased to see Democrats out there.
Good.
I've had hugs, I've had hallelujahs. I had an immigrant lady who answered the door and really wasn't very interested, so I handed her my information, carried on down the street, and she chased after me down the street and said, "Can I hug you? You're the first immigrant I've seen running. You're representing me." I mean, the reception has just been phenomenal. Of course, there've been some unpleasant people, but
that happens.
But you have to remember the majority of people are good.
Everybody has said that. They're sure there has been some unpleasant, but everybody said the majority. They'll talk to you. They're really asking questions. This is a huge election. Mm-hmm. This is big. This is a big deal for Carmel, and I have never seen so many people because it's a huge turnover. And I think because Jim is leaving, Mayor Brainerd is leaving, here comes the new mayor's coming in, so it's a big influx of new people, which I think is great. I think it's wonderful, and I think, like I said, I think anybody who gets on that council, and I hope there will be a nice balance. Mm-hmm. And I do know some people. I know that Jeff is rerunning. Jeff Worrell. Now Jeff's a great guy. Okay, great guy. Mm-hmm. All right, he's been very good to this company. And he's been a real supporter of Actors Theater of Indiana. So every time he's on here, I love talking to Jeff. Yeah. And I think Jeff is the kind of a person, I don't want to misspeak, but he is one. Come on, we're all going to figure this out together. No matter what party you're with, we're going to figure it out. We're going to do it together. And I think that is commendable. And I do think that it seems like, to me, it seems the same thing. You really just want to figure it out. You just want to make it better. You just want to figure it out.
Absolutely. And one of the things I've done from the beginning of this campaign, I started in January, was try to work very hard to make relationships and friendships with the Republicans as well as the Democrats.
Well, it's another...
So we can hit the ground running,
right? Of course.
It's not an us against, in my opinion, it's not an us against them.
No.
It's a who do the citizenship want to represent them? Who do they believe will listen to them, learn from them, and lead in a positive way for them? And that's for the citizens to decide. And then it's for the people who are privileged enough to be selected to figure out how to work together to move the city forward. Mm-hmm. It's not specifically, particularly once you're elected, it's not about the letter after your name. Mm-hmm. It's about, are you prepared to roll your sleeves up, get down to work, get out and listen to the people in Carmel, and really do what's best.
Yeah, you're true civil servants.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I find that with more local than federal, people who are running are the true civil servants.
Yeah,
they really, because there they are, they're right there. Oh, we all live in here. We're all paying taxes here. We're all voting here. We're all, this is our home. And I think that's, I think that's really important, Well,
it's probably 6 if you include American English.
We have, right, yeah.
So in England, you start to learn your first foreign language age 11. So I picked up French. Okay. Then age 12, you pick up a second language. So I picked up German. And when I came to the US, I started to learn Spanish because obviously it's going to be majority Spanish language by 2050.
Yes.
So that's how, and I've got smatterings of Arabic, Greek, Turkish, things I've picked up on my travels. I love learning languages. I mean, I love being able to communicate with people and learn about different cultures. Yeah. And if you can communicate with somebody in their own language, you learn far more than...
I've been to Europe, working a few times, and spent quite a good amount of time over there. And if you are putting forth the effort, okay... That's all you have. That's all that matters. I am not fluent in any other language, okay? But I do speak a little bit. And so if you put forth that effort, you see those people appreciate it. Yep. And it's the same here. I feel the same here. Put forth the effort. I appreciate it. So I do the same thing. I agree. That Arabic, though, I don't know how you... oh, my gosh.
It's a very little. I'd like to learn more, but haven't had the time recently.
Well, you have the romantic, you have the Italian and the French and even the German. It's a little easier. Greek. Oh, my God. Arabic. It's like, forget it. My mind, but I'd be like this,
I love it. Just my thing.
So how did you get into fostering kids then? What happened there?
So we adopted our daughter here through an attorney in Carmel, and I became a guardian ad litem not long after in Hamilton County, where you advocate in court for abused and neglected kids. And I did that for some time. And obviously I'm advocating for people kids in foster care. And I saw the need for good foster parents. And it seemed like I've always done these things to give back, and it seemed like a very direct way to give back. Mm-hmm. I mean, my child could have ended up in foster care had the story been completely different. Adopted, so it felt like a very direct way to give back. And quite frankly, the thing that first provoked it was my daughter said, "Can we foster?" When she's an only child, and she was probably 10. So she really planted the seed. Can we foster some kids? Mm-hmm. So when she was going into high school, we said, how do you feel about it? And she said, I think we should do it. We've got the space. You're great parents. We should do it. Which was...
how hard is that? I mean, how...
Oh, it's unimaginably hard.
Yeah.
One of the social workers we worked with, we had a short-term child who needed to go into a residential placement, and she stayed with us while they waited to get a residential placement. And we advocated pretty strongly for her. And when we finally got her a placement, the social worker said, "I'd never bet against the Drapers. You guys are really great advocates when you get going." And I thought, I think about that frequently.
Yeah, that's great.
It was very hard. It was very hard. These children are deeply damaged through no fault of their own. Right. And the system fails them. Yeah. And I feel good that we've been able to give those kids a safe place to land when
that truly shows how obviously that you guys were great foster parents. I mean, that really, because I don't know how rare that is. That you stay in touch. That foster child stays in touch with those foster parents. Yeah. And yeah, I mean. And also, it gets, like you said, it's broken, so it gets a bad rap. You hear, all these... right, well, some people, but... To hear that there are those good apples,
Oh, the majority are good. The majority are good, no question about it. Of the foster parents I've met and interacted with, and a lot, there have really been none who were not good. I mean, some are better than others, but really, I mean, it's not an easy thing. The money is, it doesn't come close to paying the cost of having a child. Yeah. I mean, people are doing it for love. I mean, really, people are doing it. 99.5% of people are doing it for love.
That's great.
Which is great. I mean, these kids need it. These kids really need it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can see that child move on, like you said, they keep in touch. So it must, must make you did, almost like you said, you gave back. And it has to feel good. Of course, you're not doing it because of your ego. You're doing it because you care. But it's got to feel good where you're like, we helped with that. We helped that kid. And look where they are now.
It was interesting.
We were part of that.
Last Friday, we got a call at 11:30 at night from one of our foster kids, who's now 21. She was at a concert at Gamebridge Fieldhouse downtown, and her ride had lleft her. And she lives in Anderson. We were talking about Anderson. She lives in Anderson. Yeah. So she called us, and she said, "Can you get me an Uber back to Anderson?" And we said, "Yep." And talked to her, and that's what these kids lack. They don't have adults in their life that they can.
Well, they can't call their parents and be like, "Hey, can I come home?" Or what do you do? Yeah.
And the fact that these kids know that if they're in a tight spot, they can call Bob and Sarah Draper, and they will drop everything and show up for them. Yeah, means the world to me, because that's what it's about. It's giving them that safety net.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, if you've never been through that, you've no clue.
Right.
You're very fortunate. Call your parents and be like, "Oh, hey."
Absolutely. We've always told our daughter, if you're in a spot, just call us and we'll drop everything.
Of course.
And she knows that, but to give this to these other people is priceless.
Oh, right. Is your husband still with Lily? Is he still with Lily?
Yeah, nearly 24 years later. Yeah. Who does that these days? But it's a great place to be, right?
No. I mean, that's true, right? Staying with the company for such a long, extended time, and even retiring with that company, that is kind of rare now,
Yeah.
So listen, I think it's great. I always said whenever I heard, we would sit down and work it out calmly. We're not going to just throw insults at each other. We're not. And he did everything that with Carmel, all are welcome. All are welcome. I remember when he was doing the last campaign. Mm-hmm. That was one of his things. Look, all are welcome. Yeah. Everybody is welcome to Carmel. And I do agree that everybody does need a place to live. And that gets tough in certain areas.
Yes, it does.
And I always say, I'm not rich. I'm not a rich person. I am an actor, but I live here, and we're in a lovely little neighborhood. And so a village of Mount Carmel over there.
Yep.
So,
I know everywhere in Carmel.
Yeah, I bet.
I've knocked on doors everywhere.
Yeah, I bet. Hello. So
It's me again. Go vote and we'll take your name off the list. Nobody's going to knock on your door after you vote.
Oh my gosh. Right. Happy Halloween. But but yeah, I mean, I think that's so important, to have these different neighborhoods where everybody can live and can afford to live. And believe me, this is not just happening, it's happening everywhere. Mm-hmm. This is happening where I'm from. This is happening in New York City. People are like, where am I supposed to live? And it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, if you want to live in a certain area, you should be able to. You should be able to afford something.
Yes.
Something there, not to buy a house, but at least something, an apartment, something. But yeah, I wish everybody is going, full blast. And I think that is great. I don't see anybody hanging back on their laurels. I don't see anybody doing that. At least I haven't yet. Everybody's pretty passionate about what their platform is. And I do see a lot of quite a bit with everyone who's running. But they're all good things. They're all good on both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats. They're all good. And I think you have to think about the individual when it comes to certain things like this. Like you said, who's going to do the best for you?
Who do you think you can call who will listen and take you seriously?
Yeah.
That's what local politics is about. Right?
Yes.
When somebody stops you in the grocery store and
yes.
says, "Hey, can you help me with this?"
Yeah.
You have to be willing to do that.
You're not unapproachable. In the local politics, they shouldn't be unapproachable because, it's not like you're headed off to Washington to sit in Congress you're there most of the year or whatever. It's not, it's totally, I think it's totally different.
Yep. And that's why I've knocked on over 14,000 doors.
Yeah.
Because I want people to see me. And I've really approached this as like an 11-month job interview. How I've behaved this year is how I would behave as a counsellor. I've knocked on all the doors. Right, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it properly.
And for a penny and for a pound.
And this year I've showed people. I've not just told you what I'm going to do. I've showed Carmel what I'm going to do when I'm elected.
Yeah.
Just to prove it, so people can see that's who I will be.
Right.
That I will help you. I'll listen. I'll learn, and I'll lead.
Right. I concur. Yes. Well, thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And thanks so much for joining us. And Lunch Break with ATI. The next thing ATI has coming up is Christmas in the Studio Theater, and Wayne Powers will do 2 nights, and they're each doing their own holiday show, and they're both absolutely wonderful performers. So you can check out our website, atistage.org. You can call the box office, 317-843-3800 for Christmas decorations, which I can't stand, by the way. Can you at least wait till Thanksgiving?
I can't think past November the 7th right now.
Right? Oh, of course. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm Cindy Collins, one of the co-founders here at ATI. Have a great week, and we'll see